I'm not planning this out. I just watched, well, not the whole video, but I watched a few minutes of this video entitled Biggest Secret Ever Kept in History Revealed. And this person's got 10 times their normal view count on there. You got, 100 and something views on their videos, and then you got 20,000 views on this video from a week ago by making this outlandish title. Oh, I wonder what title I'm going to use for this one. Oh, the actual biggest fucking secret in history ever kept? The biggest lie ever told? The biggest cover-up ever committed? I'll tell it to you right now. Because your little thing with the patterns and the fancy graphics and, oh, what if this, what if that? Dude. I'm trying not to get irritated. I didn't bother giving this person enough thought to figure out whether or not they meant well. Perhaps they meant well. I don't really care. But to be so hyperbolic and to still exhibit such cluelessness warranted a response on my part. So, let me switch hand here. I can think of a few secrets that should be painfully obvious, but they aren't. Like, why the only bending of light that ever happens is the stuff that you see on camera when I make certain points or have certain thoughts. But anyways, gotta move on from that. And I don't know what my beard's doing. I've been so fucking busy lately. I was shocked I had time to fucking do dishes today. Daughter made cinnamon rolls. Next day, wanted to make cinnamon rolls again. I wanted to make, biscuits, and then cinnamon rolls. And then the next day, I wanted to make cinnamon rolls again. Used a different pan each time. If you're a parent out there, I'm sure you know the frustration that can drive you crazy with. So I digress. Been a long day. It's 11:15. So good evening if you're watching this shortly after I upload it. Obviously, I'm using my cell phone right now. And thanks for joining me. Kind of boggles my mind how the actual biggest secret, getting back to the point, the actual biggest secret, period, the biggest cover-up in history, doesn't get discussed at all. They don't even mention the possibility. They don't even debate whether or not it happened. They don't. Have you noticed something about me versus all the other flat earthers? See, all the other flat earthers mention each other all the time. Even people they don't like. Oh, this person's a shill, that person, blah, blah, blah. You ever heard them even mention me? They mention people with half as many subscribers all the time. They introduce people and promote them. And there's people that have shown up on the scene and within a week had, 5,000 subscribers just out of nowhere. But me with my no promotions, no fancy graphics, and almost 3,000 subscribers, almost 1 million views, I don't get a mention. Not one, not from anybody. Why is that? Oh, it's because of the biggest secret ever told and how uncomfortable with it they are and how they collude to continue its cover-up. It's not that it's a silly idea. It's that it's so fucking obvious where this leads. And they don't like it. Because if enough people learned about the truth that I have to reveal, people might actually do something about it. They might actually start learning to love each other and cooperating and getting along and forgiving each other and moving the fuck on. Actually remedying the past instead of ignoring it and living in a fantasy world. You know, I just watched something. It's an hour and 5 minutes long. It's on the Council of Foreign Relations YouTube channel. And I want to demonstrate for you how fucking stupid these conspiracy nuts are on YouTube. I want to demonstrate for you how paranoid and obviously anti-government, Russian sympathizing, just how painfully obvious it is who signs their paychecks, who motivates them, who taught their parents to teach them their values, that kind of thing. And remember, our enemy works on a 3-generation rule. It doesn't expect to conquer something within a generation. It's always 3 generations. Okay? It takes raising a certain type of people, and then moving them there, and then raising another certain type of people, and then there's action. So there's the first generation, teaches. Second generation, deploys. Third generation, acts, manipulates, divides for the conquering. Okay? And that's what's been going on here. But that's not the biggest secret. You know, all these paranoid idiots on YouTube want to tell you the CFR is bad and everything to do with the CFR is bad. If anybody had anything to do with the CFR, they're bad. Right? I know, I used to think the same thing. I used to hear the same thing. And you repeat like a robot too, okay? But I'm asking you to please stop, okay? Go to the CFR's website, the YouTube channel, okay? Right after you finish watching this video. Oh, gassy. Sorry. Oh. Right after you finish watching me burp or hiccup or whatever the fuck just happened there, and by all means, please continue watching this video. I got some gems, some oysters in this one for you. Yeah. But watch this video. It's called "What to Expect from Putin." Okay. And I I want you to just consider this. Either I'm an idiot, okay? Either I'm delusional, or maybe the reason why all these KGB funded, trained, operated, influenced, indirectly or directly, media empire outlets, okay, all these fucking fake conspiracy people from pundits to fucking false prophets, okay? Maybe the reason why they all want you to hate, despise, and fear the Council on Foreign Relations is because the Council on Foreign Relations is very informative about what the hell foreign relations are like. Oh, maybe they don't want you to know what Putin's up to and the foreign council relations, with the foreign counseling will counsel you on what's going on in foreign relations. And you might have a fucking clue about something other than paranoid YouTube channels. Ah. So watch this documentary and see if there's maybe some insight, maybe some wisdom, maybe a little bit of information that you've been missing. Because there's a drastic amount of information. You people are clueless. You're isolated in this paranoid bubble, and it's making you weak. It's making your nation susceptible to conquest. Okay, and that's its objective. Believe me, that's the whole objective. All right. Now, I don't agree with everything you're going to hear on this documentary. All right. It's very insightful. There's a lot of good information. Sorry, I'm going to switch my hands to ash my cigarette. Um, but American diplomatic analysts tend to be, let's say, publicly too optimistic. And I mean publicly because I don't think they're this optimistic behind closed doors. The fact of the matter is, in the past week, the we went from having a NATO summit in which we're supposed to be trying to de-escalate tensions by establishing a deterrent agreement, much like the Cold War agreements. Um, and just like most of our ceasefire agreements regarding Western Europe, um, shortly after, a Russian plane buzzed an American ship. Only this was like several flybys, very, very close, below the level of the tower of the ship. I mean, right by it, too. Videos on YouTube. Might have seen it already. But, Russia in a modern context, the Russia that you know about, communism taking over, KGB, all that, that's not the biggest secret. That's a very big secret that you need to tell more people about. You need to. I don't like plugging myself, and I guess that's probably to the detriment of society in general, because I'm the only one actually telling you the truth about what's going on in the fucking world. Like, did you know, for instance, that a couple of weeks ago, and it took me a while to hear about this even, because I've been busy, Armenia and Azerbaijan had a fucking shooting war. They had a border skirmish that lasted 4 days. Did you hear about that? I didn't think you heard about that. Heard about that. Past tense, words, grammar, English, speak it. Fucking dumbass. Um, but yeah, also, that's obviously not the biggest secret ever. But I think it's fascinating how, unless you're watching like State Department briefings and like daily coverage as opposed to YouTube uploads of media like CNN and MSNBC, you're not going to hear about stuff like this. And the conspiracy channels aren't going to cover it because they don't cover anything that makes Putin look bad. They just don't. The only thing they're interested in doing is making our government look bad. The only space agency these flat earthers are interested in criticizing is NASA, even though NASA hasn't really been active for like a decade. Okay? They're just trying to put nails in the coffin for and they're either directly or indirectly working for the cause of Slavic superiority, Soviet superiority. Okay? And there's a reason why that name sounds like slaves. And that segues me into the actual biggest biggest secret ever kept in history. It's not the shape of the earth. The shape of the earth is, next to irrelevant. Okay? As far as your day-to-day life goes, does it really matter? Okay? Do you want to be an astronaut when you grow up? No. Okay, so, what does it matter? All right, there's either a South Pole or there's either way, you're not going there. You're not. Okay? One day Math Powerland might make it out there. Okay? That's cool. I support that. But right now, you got to go to work in the morning. Probably. Maybe. You have a life to live. And when you look at a map, it goes north, south, east, and west. Everything's flat. When you point towards California from Pennsylvania, you don't like point down and through the earth. You just point west. Okay, to your daily life, the earth is flat. Okay, so round and flat. Anything to do with, oh no, there's this big secret and here's all the fancy graphics to prove it. No, sorry, it's got nothing to do with anything that's really fucking important. What's important? The biggest, single most important thing, lesson from history, historical event, actual thing that happened, that's been covered up, that's been kept secret, that continues to be pursued to this day, is Johannism. Okay? And the Johannite genocide. That you simply know as what? Friday the 13th, Slaughter of the Templars, and, your lack of comprehension of it reduces the scale. Okay? That's not your fault. But see, what happened was there were two Christianities. Okay? And one centered around John the Baptist. Okay? And these were distinguished by two different sects. Those who thought that there was only one person at the time, and there were people who were also Johannites who thought there were two people at the time and that John and Jesus never got along. Okay? Technically, these people are both right, but that's in previous videos. Okay? I'm not going to go into all that right now. But what happened was anyone who thought that Christ and John were simply the same person also had another factor in their beliefs. The wife of Christ, who was the living incarnation of Mother Nature. Okay? Now, anyone who has researched anything about alternative history knows that whatever this army, whatever this empire that us free thinkers are up against, it's obviously very sexist and very oppressive of women. Okay? And what I'm telling you is that any Christian who thought that Jesus was married thought that Jesus and John the Baptist were the same person. Okay? And if you look back at original sources, you will find evidence of this. You will find consistent clues. And if you look at paintings, the truth is really obvious. It just kind of makes me itch. So, yeah, that's the greatest secret story, truth never told. Okay? Hands down. Because what happened subsequent to the Khazarian creation of Islam, oh, I know this isn't going to get monetized, was the destruction of, and I don't mean to sound like a racist, but the destruction of the actual culture that white Europe built. Okay? The destruction of everything we had as a people. Okay. And the people we got along most with were the Africans and the islanders. And every effort has been made to destroy that friendship. It's, if you really had the knowledge of what the past was like, it seems like an absolute symbiosis of cultures. Okay? And we've been taught that, all white man ever did was enslave black man. Yeah, we bought those slaves from red men. And I don't mean Native Americans. But anyway, all of that, the history of the Crusades and Johannism, the absolute slaughter by the new imperial parties that were sown from foreign lands into our lands, the absolute slaughter of everyone who didn't subscribe to their false doctrine. That is the biggest secret, the biggest story, the biggest cover up ever in history. This channel is the only one that really talks about it. But if you'd like more background information that I provide on here, because I'm not very good at making videos, I don't do documentaries very often at all. Real Crusades history is actually a great place to get a lot of relevant background information and to piece together the stories that I tell from my memory and try to correlate them with this insane political reality we find ourselves in. Um, so, I just want y'all to realize that there were a lot of really good Christians once. Okay? They all died. They were all killed. And lies were told about them by the guilty. And if I ever seem like I have a chip on my shoulder, that's it. Because it continues to this day. It continued with the Mandeans, even. The last Johannite culture to be slaughtered. The 144,000 clothed in white at the end. And now they stand in judgment of all of you. The silent minority to be heard by the Most High God. I guess that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. Like this video. A little thumb up your ass button. Well, that's just inappropriate, Sean. I don't care, me. And subscribe if you enjoy watching me talk to my hand. Peace.